Thank you so much. So I just wanted to introduce ourselves a little bit. My name is Alina George. I have been working at the FAA since March of 2019. I am a program analyst in the UAS Office of Safety and Integration. I am one of the administrators of the UAS CTI program, along with Diana Robinson. Before the FAA, I have worked at a variety of places, including Sparkman Electronics. I was there, assisted with customer service, their education department and outreach efforts. And before that, I also worked at RTCA, which is an aviation standards and regulatory body. Diana?
Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you today. I have been with the FAA since February. Prior to that, I was the Energy and Sustainability Manager at Manatee County in Florida. And while there, we actually implemented a UAS program. Ken, a lot of those things that you shared are absolutely right on, not only for schools, but for local governments. We went through a similar process. I had a full career at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, so I just, again, I'm delighted to be here. My title is Project Specialist in the UAS. It's the Office of Safety and Integration.
Next slide, please. All right, so backing the future, how we can use the UAS CTI program and how we want to prepare the new UAS workforce. So UAS has grown rapidly in the US, and we at the FAA have realized that we need to ensure that this new technology is safely integrated into the national airspace system. And it is also important that we build a pipeline of qualified professionals to meet this increasing demand. Because of this, and in response to a congressional requirement, if anybody wants to look it up, it is section 631 and 632 of the FAA Reauthorization Act 2018. The FAA Congress wanted the FAA to establish a new collegiate training initiative that is going to prepare students for careers in UAS. Next slide, please. We actually launched the UAS CTI program on April 30th of this year. We did have a launch webinar, Zoom webinar, that had over 280 participants. And these were schools and industry alike. So far, I know the slide says 60 schools have sent in a request for applications. We actually have now had 75 schools send in requests for applications. In addition to that, the industry that were on that initial launch and afterwards have expressed a lot of excitement that they will soon be getting knowledgeable and experienced UAS remote pilots as a result of this program. Next slide, please. So who's eligible? The UAS CTI program is available for not-for-profit 2 or 4 year post-secondary educational institutions, can either be public or private. These institutions do have to be institutionally accredited by an agency that is recognized by the US Secretary of Education. And we are looking for schools that currently offer or will soon offer a bachelor's degree or a certification in UAS. So these can be pretty far-reaching. And we are working with schools constantly. This is a new program, and we want to make sure that everybody can participate. This is a non-competitive program, so we want as many schools as we can get. So here's what happens. After we receive a request to participate, and the email will be at the end of this presentation, we will send out a message with an initial questionnaire. This initial questionnaire, once it's completed and returned to us, will be approved and accepted. Following that, we will send a memorandum of understanding to the participants, have you sign those and return them. There is no specific application period. There is a 3-year renewal. So once you are accepted into the program, that is good for 3 years, and then we will reassess as necessary. Just to reiterate, after your initial application, you complete the questionnaire, you sign the memorandum of understanding, and within that questionnaire, you will be providing specifics of the UAS curriculum that you have or are beginning to build. Next slide, please.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about, there were actually 7 training objectives within the language of that section 631 that Alina mentioned. And it falls actually really close with a lot of the comments that were made earlier, those core elements. You know, what are you going to teach? How are you going to integrate it into your curriculum? And having been involved in building a program, I will tell you, just about every one of these listed here, we touched upon in one way or another. And you just want to make sure that not only the classroom knowledge, but you want to get your students out and actually doing a lot of hands-on practice. If you have a simulator, that's always a great thing too. But the group that I had in Manatee, I actually had GIS analysts on staff. And I know many of you are in that world. The applications that we've been receiving are not just aviation type schools. They are under GIS. Some are maybe agriculture, of course, research. A lot of the bigger schools maybe had programs where it was more research going on. And so we've just really been delighted to see the different applications coming in. And we have quite a few schools that are just building programs. And so I'll be anxious to share, and that's kind of what this is all about. This whole collegiate training initiative, the whole networking and sharing of information for schools that are building programs, and if they haven't, been part of a wonderful DroneCamp like you all have here. So the things listed, the training on UAS platforms, we know there's so many different types of drones out there, the fixed wing, the multi-rotor. I know we have a small steering committee, and it's even been brought up, well, why would the wording, because a lot of the wording was UAS, why not the larger drones? And so the 2018 Reauthorization Act, I mean, that's been 2 years, and technology has actually changed and grown quite a bit since then. So I can assure you at the FAA, we're trying to keep on top of it, and making sure that we're going to be able to allow different types of flights. My next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about BB loss and such, but if you don't mind to advance to the next slide. Yeah, so federal policies, we are the FAA. We have lots of regulations, laws that have lots of letters and numbers, and it can be very confusing, and we know this. And so I promise you that the UAS group, and we're a large group that are working on this whole integration, and the IPP program that Palomar was involved with in San Diego, those are a few examples of how we're learning what the needs are. And on this last bullet here, the training related to flying with sensors and processing data, I have a couple stories that I want to share, but I can tell you the BB loss has a tendency to keep some of us up at night, because we know if we can't overcome, say a big utility that has just miles and miles of land, why would you need to be right there in visual line of sight? And we know, right now people put the waivers out there, but sometimes they're denied, and it doesn't make sense why they're denied. But you have to understand, we are the UAS group, but the FAA is aviation and aviation safety and the national airspace and keeping everyone safe. So sometimes we have to kind of talk with flight standards, those that are that are accepting the waivers or they're denying them. But we are all really trying to work well together on making that happen. The federal policies, I know you probably heard a little bit about remote ID, and I'm not going to get into that, but those are the types of things that are going to be a big change. as we move forward with this. And so it's important that you have an understanding. If you don't, we're there. We're there to work with you and help you. And part of this collegiate training initiative, as well as the consortium, the 2-year and technical schools, if they meet the requirements, they'll automatically be part of that. And then the schools that are building a program will also be included, maybe more as an observer, but so that they can get that important information as they're building their program. Next slide. And this is a visual, it's a static map. I know that Palomar has a great GIS map that they've been recognizing schools with UAS programs. And once we start signing the MOUs and sending out acceptance letters, then we will share that information, and then they can maybe grow their map even more. But we, as Alina said, we launched the program on April 30th. We immediately started getting applications. There's not funding associated with it like with our other collegiate training initiatives. Air traffic has had one for over 25 years when they're trying to get controllers very well qualified. And then there's a technical operations CTI program as well. But I knew, from the beginning, I knew that having this group that can meet we have experts out there who can talk to you if you want to know about UTM or UAM, many of the acronyms, the urban air mobility, those types of things. We can have people that will talk and probably would be happy to present to your students. Next slide, please. And we do have, I think, 75 or 77 that have already requested to participate. So benefits, I've already said a little bit about the benefits and what we see there, but we can also help you with establishing a safety management system. Really important to have those in place, to have that in place in your programs. We want to meet with schools on a quarterly basis, have videos, again, from FAA experts, different topics. We hope to have an annual meeting of participants. And the one thing good about Zoom is that we now know we can use this and it works well. We may go by region, time zones, so that it doesn't, the timing sometimes gets thrown off a little, but we'll do technical support. We want to recognize you. I hope to see internships. And another thing is that we've actually had industry reach out to us already and have said that as such. I'm so happy that we're going to have experienced pilots ready for the workforce. I don't have to take that time to show them how to do it. They're already going to know what to do. And the word internship came up, as well as full-time jobs. Next slide. And I think I'm going to pass this back to Alina. Thank you all for having us today.
So we're talking about the measure of success here, and Diana and I actually served on a panel yesterday during the Preparing for the Drone Workforce Conference, and that's really what this is all about. Training and educating students so that they are a well-prepared group of graduates going into the workforce. Diana already mentioned that we have had members of industry come to us hoping to be able to provide internships. There is also going to be a consortium of 2-year schools, which it's underneath the umbrella of UAS CTI, but it is a separate thing entirely, purely for 2-year schools. And this is to, again, create this community. We want to create a community and a network of schools so that you can share best practices and have open communication with the FAA. The UAS CTI, we hope, is going to become a collaboration between the FAA, universities, colleges, and technical schools. The results of this working relationship include a continuous dialogue, like I said, stakeholders that can connect with universities and general industry, local governments, law enforcement, other economic development programs, so that we can address labor needs that are up and coming. Quality of this information that's going to be shared during this working relationship really is going to ensure that the knowledge and skills that are obtained are going to result in really well-trained, safety-conscious graduates and professionals who are going to be pursuing their goals for successful careers in UAS. Diane and I are very excited about this program, and we can't wait to work with you. If you go ahead and advance to the next slide, please.
Yes, and for me, one of the pleasures of this program is truly interacting with like Dr. Chung today. I mean, we've already met 2 or 3 times. Mark Bilo, who works with him, is actually presenting with me at UAS Symposium. And so not only the collaboration, the networking, the working relationship, but now we have new friendships, and we're here to help and hope. If you haven't applied, apply. If you have applied and you haven't heard, please send a message, and the information is here on this last slide, where you can find more about the program and where you can send any questions or your request to participate.